Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 17 online game. Today we go to the NFC South portion of the 32 team preview series for the upcoming NFL season, and today we got Who Dat Nation, the New Orleans Saints, who may be playing in the toughest division in the NFL this upcoming season, and that does not bode well for the Saints. If you guys remember the preview series we did for the Rams a couple of days ago, literally just flipped that script and you got the New Orleans Saints. Story done. That's all we gotta say. The quarterback position, stable for years. Drew Brees threw for over 5,000 yards once again. He's really old, but he's still Drew Brees, so he's probably gonna give you better production than most quarterbacks can today once again. The running back position, okay. Your wide receiving core is fantastic. They lost Brandon Cooks. They traded Brandon Cooks away, but Michael Thomas is still there. Willie Snead is still there. Really good receiver. They signed Ted Ginn in the offseason as their bootleg Brandon Cooks speedster guy. I don't really like Kobe Fleener, but he and Josh Hill are the tight ends, and Drew Brees usually makes it work with those journeyman tight ends, so they can do okay at that spot. Obviously, it could be improved, but what they have this season could still produce a really good offense. The offensive line is pretty good. Unfortunately, Teron Armstead got hurt about a month ago, and no one knows if he's going to come back this season, but it's a good thing to spend a first-round draft pick on an offensive tackle. So Zach Streif's on the right side. They might put the rookie on the left side. That's trial by fire. We'll see how that works out, but that is the projected starting offensive line. And then you got Max Unger, you got Warford that they signed the offseason, and Andres Pete, who they drafted in the first round a couple years ago. So the offense is looking good, right? Defense, really bad. Really bad. Like I said, the opposite of the Rams. The Rams had the really good defense, and they figure out the offense, they'll be on fire. That's the Saints' problem. They can figure out this defense, they can be playoff contenders. Unfortunately, looking at their roster, they do not have it figured out just yet. Probably. Now, the reason why I say probably is because we don't know how exactly these new players that they drafted are going to work out. The trade with Brandon Cooks was partially done because they realized that they can't afford Brandon Cooks. Once he's up for a contract extension, the Saints will still be in salary cap hell, which they've been in for, I don't even know, literally ever since they won the Super Bowl. The Saints have been battling against the salary cap, and it's really costing them a chance to compete. They know their defense is really bad. They know they need to improve, but they can't really afford to make big baller improvements. The last time they really made one of those kind of improvements was, well, attempts at an improvement, was signing Jarius Byrd, and that was a complete disaster. Jarius Byrd is gone now, so went over the offense. Offense is looking, pretty good once again this season. Probably going to be one of the top offenses. Rushing should be pretty good. They signed Adrian Peterson, by the way, who is probably going to play the Tim Hightower role in the team. Mark Ingram is supposed to be the starter. I would think would be the starter, not Adrian Peterson. We'll see how that works out. They got Tavares Cadet once again to be the receiving guy. But yeah, the defense is just piss poor. You got Cameron Jordan, but other than that, it's just like, yeah, you realize why this team gets torched week in and week out, and why they don't compete. There's a lot of young guys on this defense, though, and that is the upside factor of the New Orleans Saints. It's all about who they've drafted. Unfortunately, who they drafted might not impact their record too much this year. It could help them going forward. Like, what they've drafted this year could be a good foundation for this squad to help turn it around, but I don't know how much helps them out this year. So we'll start off with the drafts. Three years ago, the 2015 NFL draft might have been one of the worst overall for any team in 2015. They got Andres Pete, who hasn't really broken out yet. They got Stephon Anthony, who doesn't look good. They got Kikawa, who was okay, but tore his ACL last season and didn't play at all. And who knows what he's going to bring this year, if anything. So that draft, bad. Then you go to last year's draft, 2016. They got a lot of really good picks with their first three picks. In the first round, they got Sheldon Rankins. He was the 12th overall pick. And he didn't play the whole season. He got injured, missed the first half of the season, but he looks like he can be a decent player at least. Help them stop the run. Then they got Von Bell late second round. Von Bell, I really like the way he plays. He could be really good in that secondary along with Kenny Vaccaro, who's been around for a little bit now. And then Michael Thomas, second round pick. Also really good. Also might have been they got pretty much 2 steals in the second round if you look at it that way. So they drafted really well. So if they could repeat that success with this year's draft, they got a lot of draft picks. They got 6 draft picks within the first 3 rounds of this year's draft with all the tradings and everything that they've done. So there's a chance to really improve, and that's really the only way this team can improve. I mentioned that their salary cap situation is kind of messed up, so they don't have the cap space to sign guys. And even the guys they did sign, I'm not even sure how much they're going to help. They signed AJ Klein. They signed Manti Te'o. Those are really just average to below average linebackers, and they won't help, but it's probably going to be potentially the worst front seven in the NFL next year. And then on top of that, they got one of the worst secondaries trotting out there once again, unless the young guys can help out. If Von Bell improves, that would be really nice. They drafted Marcus Williams with one of their their only second round picks. So, you know, if he, Vaccaro, and Von Bell, they can figure out some sort of rotation to get those three on the field playing well at the same time, that would be really good for New Orleans. They drafted Marshawn Lattimore, first-round pick out of Ohio State, hoping he does something because the rest of their cornerbacks not looking good. I love Delvin Bruce's story, but before he got hurt last year, wasn't really playing the best anyways. So, yeah, the defense is bad at everything. They do okay against the run, but passing defense is just absolutely awful. Even Vaccaro and Von Bell, the guys I mentioned, okay safeties, good young guys, but they're not really good coverage safeties. And then the cornerbacks just, they were trotting out of like who he played for a group of cornerbacks last year, especially once Brew got hurt. So that doesn't help anything. Their front seven, they got Rankins. They lost Nick Fairley. Nick Fairley's gone. He has a heart condition, and he's not even going to be playing next year most likely. So he's not even coming around, and it's just not much depth in that front seven. I mentioned Cameron Jordan, but there's not too much after that, and it's not looking too good for the Saints next year. I hate to say it because you want to see the Saints succeed. You want to see Drew Brees have one more good playoff run in his career, but unfortunately, I don't think the team is there. Now, draft picks can drastically change the outlook of a team, and the Saints have a lot of chances to really take a big jump this year if they hit home runs in this draft. They really improved their record by a couple of games, and last year the Saints finished 7-9. Despite how bad their defense is, their offense is that good to where, you know, they can finish near 8-8 every single year with this roster. Unfortunately, I don't really think the Saints are even going to finish 7-9 this year. I think they're more of a 6-10 team, maybe even 5-11. I don't know, man. I just feel like their division is way too tough. The Panthers finished 6-10 last year, and they're probably going to do better. The Bucs and Falcons, they got some pretty good rosters, especially the Falcons. They're probably poised to make the playoffs again, or at least a playoff push. And that just doesn't leave much space for the New Orleans Saints to really succeed. So I'm partially biased because after playing this game right here, I really wanted to just predict the Saints would go 16-0. I just couldn't believe how bad the defense was on this team, man. It was awful. I was like, yo, I don't even know how Drew Brees throws for 5,000 yards. If I was Drew Brees, I would just throw in the towel. Screw these guys. You don't deserve my best effort. And I kind of played like that in this game where I kind of just gave up at a certain point. But that is my thing on the Saints. I think they finished around that area, but they got a lot of young guys that can really impact this team. It's a good direction they're going in. I just don't think it impacts their record too much this year. I feel like there's just too many holes that are yet to be filled this year. Could be filled next year, but the upcoming season after this one, but I don't think it's this season. So leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Saints fans, let me know I'm wrong. Let me know why you guys won't be finishing in the cellar, because I know there's going to be reasons. I know you guys' team's injured. Everybody's team was injured last year. Everyone in the comment section likes to mention that their team was injured. Yeah, injuries happen in the NFL besides for a couple of teams, all right, man? But the Saints were one of the more battered up teams last year. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. The Saints might do good or even worse. Who knows?